Hello, welcome to the NextGEOSS Summit. My name is Bente Liliaby. I'm going to be your host in this event, but I will be also in the background a lot of the time. I will give presentations every now and then. Today we will start the program with the grand opening that will be by Nuno Catarino, our coordinator. Then Izabela Freytag will talk about all the investments that the European Commission is doing in user-driven environmental Earth observations, applications and services. And then Marie-Francoise Voidrot, our Master of Ceremony, she will then help you and guide you on with respect to how to use all the program that we are going to enjoy this entire week. I think you will learn more about how to use this tool afterwards. The first thing I want to ask you to tell us where you come from. That would be very interesting for us to know. Let us know in the chat, because in the chat, that's where you can ask questions and comment. And if you have a Chrome browser, a stable, good internet connection, and a webcam, and a headset preferably, we will also be able to invite you into the room together with us speakers, but that will be at the end of each of these sessions or the webinars. So with that, Nuno, I think we can just kick it off. Nuno Catarino, let us know a little bit about you before you start. The same for you, Izabela, and the same for you, Marie-Francoise. But then the floor is yours, Nuno. The floor is yours, Nuno. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Bente. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the NextGEOSS, to the last and fourth and last summit. First of all, I hope you are all well. I know we're living in weird times, and we would have liked. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay.
We'd have liked to have done this event live in person, face to face, but this has not been possible. But let's hope this will be a useful and profitable event for you throughout the week. So, my name is Nuno Catarino. I'm the coordinator of the NextGEOSS project. I'm adding the data systems division at Demos, so we're split between Lisbon and Madrid. And what we do is support to Earth observation systems and mission ground systems. So basically, these two areas are our main areas of operations. In Earth observation support systems, we've been working with NextGEOSS and with other activities on what ESA calls Earth observation exploitation platforms. I'll talk a bit about this later on. So NextGEOSS, so I'll first do a project overview. So this was this project is an H2020 project where we applied for a societal challenges call in 2015-16, and the goal was to do a European data hub, a one-stop shop for access to data scattered around Europe. Let me show you the NextGEOSS website. Second. So this is the website that we have for the project. So here the project is quite a large project. The total budget is 10 million, and we have 27 partners. The project started in December 2016, and as a project will finish now at the end of November. But we'll continue the activities beyond the project lifetime, and the whole data hub and platform will continue to have a life of its own. We have also created a geo community activity called NextGEOSS, where we intend to expand the offers that we have here and to enlarge the ecosystem. So you're welcome to join. Bente will talk about this later on in the week. so the concept of NextGEOSS, the concept that we proposed was not restricted to a NextGEOSS data hub. So we enlarged it to providing support, generic support to Earth observation systems. And by generic support, I mean a set of services, of interoperable services, where the users can speed up their development and operationalization time. So we have aimed to create an ecosystem of services. So we call these the platform services. So these are, for example, the data cataloging, service cataloging, data discovery, the cloud integration service, and cloud bursting, user management, geospatial user feedback, and analytics and dashboards. So these are basically the set of platform or ecosystem services that we are providing. The user can choose to have one or the other or a full suite of services, and we throughout the week we will go over all these individual services in more detail, and we'll have some opportunity to interact with you and for you to ask questions about what these services are, how can they be evolved, and so on. The target users that we have for the services are and were from the beginning the European geo community mainly. So application builders for Earth observation applications, mainly coming from Europe, but not exclusively, which typically would like to transform their algorithm into an operational service, or their small prototype service into full-scale operational deployed service. So what we did in the project, in order to not only develop the technical facilities, but also create a community around our approach, which is based on interoperable components and mainly on GC standards. So what we did was we created within the project itself a set of 10 pilot applications coming from existing geo activities. You have here the list. So you have in the pilots tab on the page, you have a list of the applications that we have. And in addition to this, we created a few more that were we onboarded a few more applications throughout the project lifetime. So we have now about 15 or 16 applications that have been deployed with several aspects of the NextGEOSS services. So the full pipeline would go, for example, from getting a pilot to understand, or for us to understand their data needs. We catalog the needs in the data catalog, and then we integrate the service into a cloud platform, which goes to the catalog to fetch the data, and we put on we connect this to user management facilities and operational dashboards, so that the user and the operator are always know what is going on with the system and can operate with the minimum costs. So this is the overall concept. Here you can see the catalog. So basically on the catalog you can catalog mainly data, but also applications and services. And you can do a search here for data per region, per topic. You have here the acquisition type and so on. We will also learn about the catalog more later on during the week. The other thing that I'd like to mention here is, so in addition to the catalog, the services that we've created in NextGEOSS, or that we evolved within NextGEOSS, they are also available through other initiatives, namely through the ESA network of resources. So we have the cloud integration service is available through Ellipse platform on the network of resources provided by Terra2. The catalog is and user management are available through demos offering the network of resources and so on. So we have also the possibility of going to the network of resources. If you don't know this initiative from ESA, this is quite an interesting activity where ESA will support the use of commercial-ish resources in the first couple of years, and then the user will be on its own. But at least it will have a starting point where ISA provides a lot of support, mainly for R&D activities, but not only. We have also a community operator identity hub, which is does the authentication of the users. You can create this service there, also sponsored by ISA, and so you can connect your service here and do the user management through this system as well. And we are also creating e-commerce platform, again sponsored by ISA, for micro geo services. The goal of this is to have very small services that can be offered through either a WPS endpoint, and they can be deployed in, for example, the TerraDue platform or any other platform that you want. The goal is just to commercialize these services and to have an endpoint of very small service like cloud detection or NDVI calculation, something like that. So this is beyond the project itself. These are the additional services that we have been able to offer in a sustainable way, which is quite a large offer that we have here. So how do you do to access the services or to provide your own services to the platform? So basically the idea is that we have the service desk. Through the service desk, you can do the data cataloging. For example, here you can go to the data catalog and request for data to be provided. For example, here, sorry, in the NextGEOSS, here you have the two links. So catalog the data in catalog application, and you can have all sorts of engagement levels through the NextGEOSS support. You have to do the login, and then you can raise a ticket asking to put your application in the cloud and so on. And then after that, we'll start interacting and iterating the evolution with you. So basically, this is a generic overview of the NextGEOSS offer and what we've been able to achieve in these last 4 years. As I said, the rest of the week will be more about detailing the services, about interaction with you, and please do interact, do ask questions, do provide suggestions. This is supposed to be a very close, although remote session, so I hope you enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you very much, and Bente, back to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Nuno. And as Nuno said in the very end there, you are more than welcome to ask questions and even comment in the chat box. And when we are at the end of this session, we will also be able to invite you in here if you want to have a more complete comment or a rather complicated question. You are welcome to do that. But now, I think we are ready to hear from the European Commission and Izabela Freytag. Can you introduce yourself first and then let us know about all the investments that you are doing on environmental Earth observation data?
Okay, so good morning, everybody. I'm very pleased to be here today with you. So I'm Izabela Freytag. I'm the project advisor of NextGEOSS project. I'm working for the European Commission in the EASME executive agency, and indeed, I will present you some example about user-driven also approach project in Horizon 2020. So I will share my screen. Okay, I will start with the most popular question nowadays. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, as I told you, I'm I'm here I'm very curious also to listen to the different user of NextGEOSS during this week and to see the NextGEOSS achievement. But my talk will be called from data user and giving you some example of Horizon 2020 project. So the capacity to observe our planet is evolving. The lack of data was the major problem in the past, but nowadays more and more satellite data are available, including the data of the Copernicus program, which are freely accessible, but also other in situ data are accessible. And nowadays the challenge is a little different. Even if some data are still missing, the challenge are different. And this is reflected in different for example, here I put you the Canberra Declaration. So for those who are familiar with NextGEOSS and with GEO, the group on Earth observe an intergovernmental organization who gather more than 100 members, including the European Commission, but also more than 100 participating organizations, and whose main vision is really to realize a future where decision and action for the benefit of humankind are informed by coordinated, comprehensive, and sustained Earth observation information and services. And last year, the Canberra Declaration was endorsed by Minister of GEO members in November 2019. And this declaration set a high-level direction of GEO members' country between now and the next ministerial summit. And I extracted some points from the declaration, and you can see on the screen how the use of Earth observation is important also for all the GEO community. So you can see here, so recognize the success the GEO community has had in driving progress in the policy area, where we highlighted including expanding the use of Earth observation to address the SDG, the disaster risk reduction and climate change. Here also another point where also the use of Earth observation can deliver a substantial return on investment. And I put also on next. So we're welcome GEO's ongoing work to demonstrate new opportunities to use Earth observation in key sector. So set 7 out of 25 points of the Canberra Declaration, the use of Earth observation is mentioned, and this really show this paradigm shift from data-driven approach to a user-driven approach. If we look at Nuno mentioned the topic where NextGEOSS has been funded, so the European Data Hub of the GEOS information system. I extracted also part of the call text, and we can also see that the reference to the user and user are very important. So the specific challenge of this topic was we see that the GCI facilitate access to and use of EO by the global GEO community. The scope of the topic was we were looking for a European hub to provide user with a unique access point. This platform for European user willing to discover, access, combine, and process multiple EO data. And also special attention shall be given to user friendliness for multiple user profile. And its core concept of data federation and user customization. And we were also asking as an impact of this topic to improve user-friendly discovery of data. So by those two example, you can see that nowadays the challenge of the EO community is linked to user. there is a need on the user side to access the information, but they are not always aware about the EO capacity, or they don't know how to access the data, how to get the information out of the data, how to handle the mass of data. So behind the word user, there are different reality, different needs, and different knowledge. And users are really all over the EU value chain. And I think in NextGEOSS project, you see it very well that you have also different type of user. And the challenge is how to bridge this gap, how to bring the data, the information, the knowledge to the user. So I will present you through different projects funded by Horizon 2020, the Societal Challenge 5, how each project involves different users, how data or information they produce, the project use, were used. So the first project I would like to to present you is Atlantos. Atlantos was one of the biggest Horizon 2020 project. In terms of budget, the budget was more than 20 million euro, and also partners. Atlantos brings together 62 partners from Europe, but also from Canada, from the US, from Brazil, and South Africa. And the project, the objective of the project was to shape a joint integrating ocean observation system in the Atlantic. So it was a flagship project in the implementation of the Galway statement for focusing on North Atlantic, but it played also a role in extending to the South Atlantic, so what is called the Belém statement. So you can see the quote from Martin Wiesbeck, the coordinator of Atlantos. So their vision, our vision with this project was to improve Atlantic observing. So Atlantic has really great results. I invite you also to consult their webpage for more information about that achievement. But only the fact that the project brings together 62 stakeholders to build an integrating ocean observing system was a big achievement. And one of the achievements also of the Atlantos project was here about the harmful algae bloom bulletins. So aquaculture is important for marine food sources, which has a positive impact on the local economy and of rural community. But the challenge of this sector is the occurrence of harmful algae blooms. And based on information from in situ ocean observing and satellite data, and also models of marine hydrodynamics, the Atlantos project assess the harmful algae blooms evolution in the EU Atlantic South Sea. So this information was disseminated to a wider audience via a bulletin that you can see on the slides. The second project that I would like you to present is called Eco Potential. It was also a huge project with a budget of 50 million euro, a duration of 4 years and 49 partners. And the project was coordinated by Antonello Provenzale from CNR in Italy. And Eco Potential focus on protected area in Europe and even beyond. Including mountains, arid and semi-arid, coastal and marine ecosystem. Thanks to Earth observation data, the change in ecosystem function, the pressure they face can be monitored. So this is what Eco Potential achieve. It delivers products to understand and also to monitor change in the ecosystem, and to support the effective management of this protected area. So one of the protected area they have worked with is the high mountain region of Sierra Nevada in the south of Spain. It's one of the biodiversity hotspots of the Mediterranean region, but it's also a source of agriculture, freshwater, timbers. It helps to capture carbon and also prevent flooding. It offers recreational and educational opportunity. And through workshop with scientists, technicians, and conservation manager, they identify which monitoring tool they needed for the region. And they stimulate some scenario to assess the impact of the current management decision. So you can see on the slide a quote from Blanca Ramos from the Sierra Nevada National Park, where really the work of Ecopotential helped to engage the general public with more accurate information, leading to protected area that people really want to visit. The third project, GeoCradle, it's much smaller project. It's what is called a CSA, so it's a coordination and support action. The budget is 3 million and 25 partners, but the results were also amazing. So GeoCradle project helps the North African, Middle East and Balkan region, what we call NAMEBA, to optimize the use of Earth observation data to benefit citizens and businesses. And the project began by conducting an inventory of available EO capacity in this NAMEBA region to better understand the monitoring, the modeling, and the computing capacity of the region. And they created a networking platform, and you can see the web page on the screen. Then the project GeoCradle, they organize a regional workshop to showcase EO potential to new end user. And those events were also an opportunity for participants to establish new collaboration. They appointed regional coordinator to organize those workshops. And one example of a successful pilot initiative is in Egypt. It's called the Solar Atlas. It was created to help to identify the best location for photovoltaic park and solar plant. And thanks to the project, 29 new solar farms were constructed. And the impact of the Solar Atlas has been referenced at the Egyptian ministerial level a few times, including by the Minister of Electricity and Renewable Energy. And you can see his quote. So, meet the mandate of the investor and fund provider, resulting in better scheme of energy production and hence in customer satisfaction. The four next projects I would like to present to you are the so-called Citizen Observatory project. So what is a Citizen Observatory project? Citizen Observatory are community-based environmental monitoring and information system. They build on innovative and novel Earth observation mobile application. And all those projects result from a call, Societal Challenge 517 in 2015, demonstrating the concept of citizen observatory. They were innovation action, so it means they contain less research, but they were closer to the operationalization. And we wanted at the Commission to see what could be done with the huge amount of data collected by citizens. Most of the project, the duration of those projects were also between 3 and 4 years, and the budget around 5 million euro. So the first project, Ground Truth project, focus on the impact of climate change on the local environment. The project wanted to demonstrate how a bottom-up citizen-focused approach can contribute to environmental monitoring, but also to better decision-making. And thanks to the new technology, citizens are able to generate and share data, but also knowledge about the issue impacting them. And Ground Truth has set up 6 citizen observatories in Europe, but also in Africa, with the aim of paving the way for citizen-inspired decision-making. They really co-designed the 6 observatories with the stakeholders in different case studies, resulting in different teams. In the Netherlands, they study flooding. In Spain, the observation of seasonal change in plants and animals. And in Sweden, the water quality management. But the 2 pilots were also set up in Africa. In Kenya, the pilot aimed to balance the conservation of biodiversity with sustainable livelihood. And in Zambia, the pilot support existing initiatives on a community-based approach to management of natural resources. So the case study I would like you to present took place in Mechelen, a city in Belgium. And the broad topic of this case study was environmental quality of life in the city. And after meeting with different stakeholders, so they meet with the city councillor for environment, the city administration, the Flemish administration for environment, and the local environment advisory board. This board consists of local citizens advising the city on environmental issue. And together they decide to focus this pilot on air quality and sound as a primary topic. And you can see a quote from Johan van Braben, one of those citizens who participate in this pilot called Meet Me Mechelen. So, yeah, as he said, a neighbor asked me to join and ride a bike while measuring the air quality. I thought it was a good idea, which could be useful to know about the air pollution in our city. I decided to attend a presentation of the project carbon sensing device paired with a GPS, and the next thing you know, we started cycling in turns twice a day for 2 weeks during each session. So they measure air quality, and once the data was collected, they process it and created a maps. And in the next slide, no, okay, yeah, here on the slide you can see one of the maps created by the project, and these maps were available on the website. This gave an indication of the pollution, and then the project showed also a relation with the traffic density. And by coincidence, this was confirmed by another project measuring also another pollutant in the city at the same time. So this observatory was a good opportunity to discuss between the different stakeholders in its increased media and public interest in air quality, and also it made air quality a priority during a local election. The next project is the GROW project, which also lasted 3 years with 20 partners and was coordinated by Dundee University. Their focus was on soil observation, so small farmers and scientists unite in soil observation amid concern over climate change. And GROW Observatory was mainly interested in soil humidity. So they encourage users to install small, cheap sensor in their garden. You can see the sensor on the top of the picture. The sensor measure humidity, and also they demonstrated that this sensor can be used to validate satellite data. But in addition to soil humidity, they help small farmers also to understand the soil they cultivate. Small farmers reduce the use of water for irrigation. They find out also when the soil reaches its full potential, and they could correlate yield and plant health with soil moisture data. One example, Michael Moss, farmer in one of the Canary Islands, he tested the system and could reduce the water use for watering. You can see his quote on the slide. So I knew that I can contribute to change the agricultural system, and the GROW project was a perfect solution for that. For this project, one of the original way they used to engage user was through online training called MOOC on food production methods that preserve and regenerate soil. Another type of GROW project user was artists. So artists Kasia Molda and Robin Rimbaud created an artistic representation of soil moisture, temperature, and light data from the GROW sensor close to the audience personal computer based on the IP address. This network artwork was triggered by Sentinel-1A orbit, encouraging reflection on Earth observation instrumentation. And the artists created works of art to help to reflect on the importance of invisible systems in our lives, such as soil ecosystem, but also remote sensing satellites. Landsense project is the largest and the longest project out of those, 52 months in total and 80 beneficiaries, and it's coordinated by IASA in Austria. It is building an innovative citizen observatory in the field of land use, land cover. They use data collected by citizens, but also data from authoritative and open access source, and they integrate them to provide information, valuable information. The project worked on 3 themes: urban landscape dynamics, agricultural land use, and forest and habitat monitoring. And I will talk you about the last one. So one of the application developed by Landsense report threat to bird habitat. This application is called Natura Alert, and it aims to view the status of some of the most vulnerable areas for birds in the world. And for this pilot, Landsense has collaborated with BirdLife International, and they use this application in Indonesia to monitor forest change. And the data serve to validate the alert resulting from the satellite images. So as it is mentioned in the slide, here this information is valuable for uncovering threats to forest ecosystem in an automated way. The last CO project is the SENT project, and the focus there was on flood monitoring. So the project has developed different collaborative technology that helps citizens actively engage in environmental monitoring. They like to say that they enable citizens to become the eyes of the policymaker by monitoring land cover, land use change. The SEN toolbox and the citizen observatory approach were assessed in two pilot, one in the Danube Delta in Romania and another one in the river basin of Kifizos in Attica next to Athens. And you can see on the picture the river basin of Kifizos in Attica. And thanks to the different campaign with citizens, they collected different types of data and they improved the accuracy of existing flood map risk. And you can see a quote from the head of the Directorate General of Development Planning, Public Work and Infrastructure. eShape, last but not least, the eShape project. I think eShape is maybe a node from the community. It's a flagship project, 55 partners running for 4 years, and now it's in its second year. So eShape contributes significantly to establish the EuroGeo initiative. The EuroGeo initiative is the European contribution to GEO. And the main challenge for EuroGeo is naturally the same than the main challenge for GEO. So to move from a data-centric approach to a user-driven one. I won't be too long on the eShape project. I saw that the project will be represented over the next day. So eShape promote the development and uptake of 27 cloud-based pilot application under 7 thematic area. They address SDG, the Paris Agreement, and the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. The pilot built on existing European EO data hub and process platform and are developed through co-design with user. The eShape project provides support on co-design with user and using European platform and other assets, of which NextGEOSS is one. And via the help desk, the project support the community the community on question from them. Today they have 27 pilots, but during the General Assembly on 19 to 21 October, they will announce more pilots, which will be onboarded this year. So if you want to attend their General Assembly, please do so. And the last well-known project I added this morning, because between us, Bente wrote me an email this morning and say, you have forgot NextGEOSS. I have not forgot it, but as all the summit will be about NextGEOSS, I wanted the user to speak by themselves. But yeah, NextGEOSS toward the European Earth Observation Data Hub and platform. So all over the summit, you will be showcased about the different use of the NextGEOSS achievement. And you can see a quote for Nuno. NextGEOSS is accelerating the development of next generation of EO services for environmental monitoring. And I'm looking forward to see the different examples during those days. So you can find, in fact, all those stories in a EC publication are available on the intranet. I think Bente will share on the chat the address. It's called a Cordis Result Pack on Environmental Observation. I really invite you to read it and to be inspired by all those theories. One important point to mention is the contribution of all those projects to the EuroGeo initiative. And if you are interested to know about the future of the European research program called Horizon Europe, Marianne van Merlo from DG RTD will present you the future in our talk on Friday. Okay, thank you for your attention. I see 30 minutes, so I made the timing. One good point for me. I will stop sharing.
Thank you very much, Izabela.
And
yes, so that was a lot of information. While you were speaking, Izabela, I was asking the audience here if they had heard about all these projects, because there is a lot of projects that are being funded by the European Commission addressing different aspects of Earth observation. And there were many have heard of the project, but very few have heard about all of them. Okay, so we have some time for questions just now after Izabela gave her presentation, and then we will give the floor to Marie-Francoise. We are a little bit ahead of time, actually, in total, so this is good. Please ask questions to Izabela in particular, but of course also use the opportunity to ask Nuno. Do ask Izabela questions that you have with respect to all the projects she presented. Yes, go ahead.
Can I use my privileged position and kick off the questions?
Yes, you can.
One which is more of a comment, it's half comment, half question, which is all the projects that actually I knew all of them, they're all producing very interesting data. The issue is sometimes that the data is not readily available. So the question is basically, are you pushing for the data to be openly available and available in standardized formats? For example, I see that some of the data is available as PDF files, which is not very much machine friendly. Is this something that you have like initiatives ongoing, or you've been discussing with the projects to make the data available in a user-friendly way, namely through NextGEOSS?
Thank you, Nuno, for this question. And you know that all our projects indeed try also to contribute to GEO. So we are and in European Commission we have also the policy to have data open data. And indeed, we try also to. It's why also NextGEOSS was funded. We try also to stimulate the project to work in the standardized way, but we are not giving them one standard to be used. Even if we hope that in the future we will all find the same standard to work with. So indeed, to reply, it's also an obligation of the grant agreement to have data available and to try to be as much as interoperable as possible. And it's why, for example, for the Citizen Observatory project, who are more new type of projects, there is a lot of work ongoing. There is also a GEO initiative who try also to work and to make those data available and interoperable.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I don't see any questions yet. Do you have a question or a comment, Marie-Francoise, while we are waiting for more in the chat?
Yes, excuse me. Thank you, Izabela, to have mentioned the standards. We will not emphasize a lot, put a lot of focus on this during the summit, even if I have organized the agenda and I am OGC. But standards, open standards are underlying all NextGEOSS, and we harvest several standards of metadata into the data hub. We will have some opportunity to talk about the harvesters during the summit. And I think that standards really work well when you don't see them. They are just here underlying for the system, but the results are what we want to emphasize.
Yes, absolutely. And Izabela, I'm very glad that you are here and will join us during this week, because we do have succeeded in cataloging some of the Citizens Observatories data from the CENT observatory, and so indeed we have made progress in connecting with citizen science data, which is a huge challenge. As you mentioned, there's a community activity in GEO, and several of the NextGEOSS team members are also active in that group. So there is a an exchange and dissemination of the results that we see here in NextGEOSS there. But I mean that we already have some connections with many of the projects that you mentioned, Izabela. But there is definitely a potential of connecting even better the results from NextGEOSS, using the results from NextGEOSS to serve these communities that has been established around the other projects. A question to you is that will this be reflected, or is this reflected when you are the need of better connectivity, I would say? Is this reflected in your discussions when you're planning the new work programs, or are you at all involved in that process?
So yeah, we are involved, and we try to take the lesson from our project to feed also this policy making process. I think Marianne, on Friday we will explain you a little the process and where do we stand, and interoperability, connection. It's why we are trying to organize this clustering event among the project to gather. And even NextGEOSS project or ICE project was funded to try also to bring all the EU community together, to not reinvent the wheel, and to learn from each other. But you are well placed to see that it's a challenge of Europe to also, it's a challenge but a strength of Europe to work together, and I think we are progressing. This is Europe, so working together is a challenge. It's maybe slower than designing by yourself, but this make the result even better. So definitively we want the project to collaborate, and we do what we can to go in that direction.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I don't see the audience here is very shy today. I don't see any question yet. Maybe we will see some later. But
it's
then,
at least in Brussels time, in my time, it's we are starting to start for the lunch.
okay.
No, it's at his breakfast time, but maybe it's.
Yes, and maybe people need to warm up to this summit, because we do have a lot of sessions during this week, and I will give the floor to Marie-Francoise, who will explain a little bit better how you can benefit from all these resources and information that we will be sharing this week. Marie-Francoise, I give the floor to you so that you can introduce the concept of the summit this year.
Thank you, Bente. I will share my screen.
Can you introduce yourself a little bit more before?
Yes, I will introduce myself. So I am Marie-Francoise Voidrot, and I work with the Open Geospatial Consortium. And the consortium is very well known for the standards, but we don't do only that. We also have an innovation program where we manage projects, or we participate into European projects to support our members and to support the interoperability, which is something very, very needed in Earth observation. So, and before that, I worked with Meteo France on projects on information system for the weather. And weather is common to a lot of topics. So I'm very happy to be able to share this knowledge with the more global community. So
we turn off our cameras, Nuno and Marie-Francoise also.
Oh yes, I should turn off my camera. Apologies for that. Okay. So I will inform you, make some housekeeping, and give you a global view of the program and what we will talk about and how it is organized, because we have tried to be a little bit innovative on this topic. It should not be surprise you too much, but I think it's important to explain. So this summit is very special for the NextGEOSS partners, because it's the fourth summit of our project, meaning that we have already a lot of results to showcase, and we will invite users to talk about that. But as I said before, we are very user-centric, and thank you, Izabela, to have announced that the user is mentioned several times into the grant document and the description. And this summit has also been designed in a user-centric way, because this is really the philosophy of the whole project. So what is a user-centric agenda? First, this is a remote summit, as said before by Nuno. And we have tried to mitigate the fact that we have to make it remotely, and that you are very, very busy with a lot of webinars and a lot of activities. And it is quite tiring to listen all day long to presentations and to demonstrations on the screens. So what we have done is that we have designed some sessions which are for each profile of users that we have identified in NextGEOSS. So normally what we will present will be very much addressed to you, because communication is not only about having brilliant speakers, and we have a lot, but it's also about making it understandable to the user and very focused on this topic of interest. So the first day will be about discover and access the data. A lot of people in the community are data users, and maybe they don't produce data themselves, or they will produce data and then they will be interested by the second day. And it's still a challenge to discover and access the data. As Izabela said, some years ago, well, some years, maybe 40 years ago, the challenge was to find data. Now we have a lot of data on the web, but how to discover it, how to assess if it's the good data for your need, how to access the data, this is still a challenge. Then, if you produce data, you might wish to enhance the visibility of the data and make it available and accessible to a broader community. So you should be interested into the second day, which is for data providers. The third day is for people who have an application on their laptop or in their premises in-house, and they want to be able to enjoy the cloud capacities and scalability, meaning that you might have to adapt a little bit your application to be parallelizable. I don't know if the word exists, but you understand what I mean. It can be parallelized to benefit from all the cloud promises. And then you need to integrate your application to be deployable, and then you burst on the cloud, and this will be discussed during the third day. The fourth day, as we have mentioned before, NextGEOSS is a project to serve EuroGEOSS, to serve GEOSS, and all this community. And so we want to give a vision to enlighten NextGEOSS as a project serving this GEOS community. And we will explain how, when I talk about users, very often people talk us about the farmers. And the farmers, of course, or the end users of the application are in the scope of NextGEOSS. They are served by the pilots. But the pilots themselves, to be able to serve these end users, need some technology. And this is where we have some partners who are IT experts that support the people developing the pilots to serve the other community. Meaning that we have organized a pipeline to support this delivery of results in two levels. The IT serving the pilots and the application serving themselves, the end users. And we will highlight that into the fourth day. And then in the last day, on Friday, we will highlight the results and talk about the future of NextGEOSS, how it's going to be developed through different approaches to become an hybrid to follow an hybrid model of development, public and private, and we will discuss that during the last day. So don't worry, this will not be a full week of sessions. As I said before, it's very tiring to listen remotely presentations. So what we have done is that we have tried to design some 90 minutes time slots of presentations, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And so you should be able to hear all the messages we have to bring you. This user-centric agenda will help us give you information about the very varied deliverables we have in NextGEOSS, because as mentioned before, we have pilots, but we also have services. And so, for instance, in the first day, we will announce a service developed by NOAA, which is the Sentinel linker service, and that allows to access all the richness of data which is online. The storage is very expensive, so each platform hosting the data is making some trade-off and puts online some part of the pieces of the data. And here we try to take some benefits, and this helps position NextGEOSS a bit differently than other platforms. On the second day, for instance, we will also invite users to explain the user feedback and how it can be, how we can benefit all the process and the dialogue you need to have with the users all along the life of your products. So we will mix into each session the different types of deliverables, but this will be, I think, very easy to follow. So you need to book your seat for each time slot before the start of the session. So for this afternoon, for 2 p.m., please reserve your seat, and the same for tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, because when the session began, we cannot bring you into the session anymore. Everything will be recorded and available on the web very quickly after the sessions. Each session will highlight results, as said before, return on experience on uses, where we will invite several users to speak and bring their experience either on what has been done and the results, or to feed the discussions to see where we could go further. And then we will have some slots for discussions, because we always think that we have to learn from the users to make sure that we meet the expectations. And we will talk about the potential extensions and NextGEOSS offer. This will repeat through the different sessions. So this will be done for the data users, then on Tuesday for the data providers, on Wednesday for the people looking for cloud capacities. Altogether, I said that the session will be 90 minutes. Altogether, over the week, it will represent 15 to 16 hours. So it's the equivalent of 2 full days of work. And I hope you will be able to arrange your agenda to come to our session and do all the work that arrives into your mailbox, and you cannot prevent from that. So we will have some interactive activities, polls, or questions to identify the expectations and learn from you. So considering the agenda for this afternoon. So this afternoon is focused on data users. We will present the results. So Kushik will present and Jovanka will present the data hub, how to use it. Nuno has shown you a little bit the user interface. This user interface can help to prototype some requests that you can embed into your code to retrieve the data directly from machine to machine. And then Anestis will present with more detail this Sentinel linker service I mentioned before, and that puts NextGEOSS into an original position compared to other platforms. We will have some return on experience from data users, from Bram Jansen from Vito, and we will have some a glance to the Data Hub evolutions plans, so you can see how we plan to evolve. What we have learned developing the pilots is that very often people say, okay, you have Copernicus data, because this was very important into the project, and it's also the foundation for the DS and other platforms. But I need some other data. How can I access to this other data? Can you harvest this data? And so we will talk about that into the 2 first days. Then we will have discussions moderated by Bente, and a wrap-up from Nuno, who will summarize the messages and the takeaway from the day. For the questions, we have considered Slido, Mentimeters, but then we thought that it could be complicated to have several tools. So we just invite you to put the questions into the chat room, which is always accessible for you. And we will have some little hands in the backstage that will select, identify the questions and bring them to the panel. So don't worry, we will follow through all the chat. What are the questions? And then you can also, as Bent has mentioned, raise your hand to speak, and we can invite you into the speaker's room. You just need some technical resources like a Chrome browser, a good connection, and a camera or a headset to make sure that the quality is good. You have here the hashtags for the summit in case you are a tweetie and you tweet a lot. We hope you are very welcome to communicate about the summit. There is something which is not obvious into the agenda, but in case the discussion would be super active, we have created some tables to bring you and discuss in a more informal way. And this is done via the tool which is called Hermit. So we invite you to create an account on this tool Hermit. And then we will post every day at each session the links to follow up the discussions if you want into this tool after the sessions. And it will be more informal and more, and you will meet the NextGEOSS experts. So the actions, I have mentioned some actions through my introduction. Please save your seats before the start of each time slot. Follow the instructions in the email that have been sent by NextGEOSS, or the detailed instructions are also available into the PDF in the chat that Bent, I think, is posting right now. And these instructions are also available on the nextgeoss.eu website. And then please create an account on Hermit. This will facilitate and make it very easy for you to join us into this informal space. Thank you very much for your attention. This is the end of the morning, and we will follow up this afternoon. Book your seat, join us at 2 p.m. on Webinar Jam. And with that, I will let maybe the hand to Bente.
Thank you very much, Marie-Francoise. I have to just hold on. Too many nuts and bolts here. I will share the PDF also in the chat very shortly. We did have some, we shared some of the links that Marie-Francoise was mentioning. First of all, the entire program, so you can actually reserve your seat in each of the sessions that you are interested in. We recommend that you register or reserve your seat in all of the events. Even if you cannot make it, you will get the replay of the session directly in your inbox in the afternoon, a few hours after the actual event, so you can catch up for the part that you want to or are able to attend. Otherwise, you can pick and choose, of course, how many sessions you want. Make sure you reserve your seat. Yes, so you have the links here in the chat. You have the links also to the article that Izabela mentioned. I just want to alert you to that if you didn't look at the chat when you were listening to us. I don't know if there's anything else. Yes, I can demo. We have raised, somebody raised their hand. That's Kushik Panda. I will let you in here because we will see Kushik a lot of the time here in the summit as well. So I invited Kushik now. So you will be seeing how you can enter onto the stage. It's similar to an onto the stage to ask your question in an offline meeting. And we are seeing Kushik arriving. There you are, Kushik. Nice to see you.
Hello, hi. All right. So thank you so much. Actually, thank you for letting me into the room. So I would like to say as well at the same time that, well, my name is Kaushik. I'm working at Deimos, part of the project coordination team, very much involved with all of the members here and the panel. I would like to tell you that this is also a great opportunity for NextGEOSS to interact with you. I think that's always been the focus of NextGEOSS, that you or the users at the center. So I would like you also invite to visit our website, also to go to our catalog. If you have any questions, raise a request. We have our team, I think, who is handling this ticket. So if you want to raise any question, raise some service desk ticket, we will answer your questions. And also, I think we would like also to more interact with you. So to be much more open, much more interactive session going forward. So thank you so much. So let's quite look forward to the rest of the sessions.
Absolutely. Thank you. Very nice to see you here, Kaushik. And we will dive into the Data Hub at 2 o'clock Central European Time. And before that, we can energize by having some lunch offline. And with that, I think I will bid you goodbye. And thank you so much, Izabela, for introducing all the projects for us and letting us know what's going on in the European Commission. And thank you, Nuno, for your very nice introduction to the NextGEOSS project. Marie-Francoise, you raised your hand a little bit.
Yeah, we just had a request into the chat if you could show the results of the poll.
Well, I answered. Okay. I answered that we will publish the results of the polls on the website, so that you can all see. We can all share this information. But I think, well, now I just removed. I took a screenshot of the first result. We see that everybody in this room, the last poll, I can report from the last poll, everybody in the room, of course, have heard about the NextGEOSS project. So that's great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we see you soon at 2 o'clock. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.